what gets confusing is the timing aspect of bonds. That the valuation is driven by the time in the marketplace the bond is issued and the bond is then purchased. And so let's walk through these steps. Bond interests are locked at the issuance rates or the stated rates. So a difference in the market rate and the stated rate may occur due to this timing difference that we're going to talk about. So a company is issuing, let's say, $1 million AAA, which means they have very good credit, 10-year bond at a 3% stated rate, paid semi-annually. The stated rate would stay locked through the entire life of the bond. That doesn't change. They're always going to pay 3%. But the market rate changes. Not only does the market rate fluctuate, like you can see an example here. Enable my editing so you can see. You can just look up 10-year treasuries here too. You can see how the rates might change. It was 0.1, then it went up to 0.2, 0.02. On the 10-year, what we look at, you can see it kind of changes every day. The rate changes. But we can't change the interest on the bond. It's a legal contract. And so what I'm trying to get at is this legal contract is actually rather complex. For a company to issue debt, it needs to be audited. The whole offering, it's called a public offering. That public offering needs to be audited. And for that audit takes a long time. And then there needs to be a lot of paperwork filed in order for the government and for the SEC and for all these agencies to buy off that the company can afford to issue the debt, and that investors are aware of all the information about it. When they issue that debt, they have to lock a rate. They have to tell investors, hey, we're going to pay 3% interest. But throughout this process, the rate can change, right? Like the market still moves. We can't keep changing the contractual rate every time the market changes. It changes too quickly. And so because of those changes, like here's a good example. On January 1st, 2020, based on these rates, if I issued the bond, it would have a 3.04% rate. That like the board would go and approve the bond at this rate. It takes about 3 months for them to file all the paperwork and get audited. So they issue the bond, and now the market rates drop to 2.76%. And then we finally are able to sell the bonds in May. So 5 months after we've done all the work, the market's dropped 2.24%, but our stated rate is still 3%. And so now think about this. If I'm telling you, hey, I'm loaning out money for 3% interest, and you know that the market is paying 2.24% now, everyone else is paying less interest than me. Does that make my bond more valuable to you? Yes or no?
In terms of the person who's buying it, the holder, yes, I think.
Yeah, you're right, yes. Because, but great answer. Because it's more valuable to me because I get more interest than everyone else is willing to pay. And so because of that, because I can't raise the interest rates, the price of the bond goes up. So when interest rates drop, bond values increase because that rate doesn't change. When interest rates go up, bond value decreases. And that's where we get here. You can memorize this, but I want you to understand that logic. The stated rate equals the market rate. So like, this is very rare if this would happen, but if you issued your bonds with the stated rate equaling the market rate, it's called being at par. That means that it's not sold at a discount or premium. If the stated rate is greater than the market rate, we can sell it at a premium. We can get more money for it, right? Because we're offering more interest than our competitors. If the stated rate is less than the market rate, we have to sell it at a discount because our interest rates are less appealing, right? Like if I was going to give you a 2% interest and now the market's 3%, I would just go to the market. You have to give me some incentive to buy your debt. And so that's where, like, right now we're at like all-time low bond yields and interest rates. This is where it ties to the market. Stock valuations are very high right now. We're at the highest point in history for stock. One of the main reasons is because bond interest rates are so low that we know that it has to go up eventually. And if it goes up, bond prices have to drop. So investors aren't purchasing bonds right now because they know they'll lose money if rates go up, and it almost has to go up because we can't go into negative interest rates. It's a concept that's very dangerous. So like this whole concept is what's driving the market valuations we see today. So you need to memorize this, but understanding it makes you a more sophisticated individual in the marketplace. So you can kind of just see the answers here. I mean, it's straightforward. You can follow. So if we issue at 3%, it's par. If our market rate is higher, we're issuing at a discount. And if it's lower, we issue at a premium. So then your next question should be, okay, that's great. That's useful. But how do we determine the value of the bond? Right? We care about dollars here. And that's where we get into this next concept. This is probably the most important concept for you to learn in finance.